Hello guys and welcome back to Repair and Resell. Today we're gonna take a look at controller number 2, which we're having some problem with the up, left and right function on the D-pad. Now that it's said, we're gonna start right now, and we're gonna start by removing those 4 screws on the back of the controller. For that you're gonna need a Phillips head screwdriver, and let's take this apart now. Just going to put it on the right side and let's go. Okay, so now that the 4 screws are removed, you need to put some pressure on each bottom part of the controller just to unsnap those bottom part. Then you need to slide a plastic tool on the side of the controller to remove the inner part that are keeping the controllers together. And when you will do it, you will hear a little click, and the controller was just there will be a gap between the 2 parts of the controller, just like as you see on the video. Now I snap back the one on the left side. I'm gonna unsnap it right now. Here we go. And usually you need to take a flathead screwdriver, and there is 2 little snap there also where I pointed. But they are already open on the controller, so I'm gonna just try to remove the back of the controller. On this model we can see that there is a little bar that we need to be careful on the top, and now we need to unsnap the inner cable. Here we go, it's done. It's really, you just need to pull on it just a little bit, not too hard. You don't want to damage anything when you open electronic. You need to be careful. And now I'm gonna remove the battery. When you remove the battery, always be careful not to pull on the wire. You just need to pull on the little white part that you connect in, just like I did. Now I'm gonna remove the kind of battery holder. There is 2 tabs on each side of it. You just need to push them toward the exterior of the controller, and you should remove them just like that. I'm struggling a bit more with this other one. Okay, it's done. It's removed. What I have in my hand is the reset button on the controller. Sometimes it fall off. I just put it back in place, and everything is gonna be fine. Now we're gonna disconnect the touchpad. In order to do so, you just lift the little black piece. It's only on these models that you can do it. And now you just need to remove the ribbon cable by pulling on the blue plastic. It's usually really easy to do. You don't even need a pair of tweezers. And this is a GDM 001 model. It's the first one that they did. Lucky me, I have all the parts to fix what we need to do. Okay, so now that I unscrew the motherboard, we're just gonna push back the motherboard so we can change the thumbstick. We will do this right now, and then we will change the broken part on the D-pad. So here we go. We're removing the thumbstick. You just have to pull on it. As you can see, these were in pretty bad condition. That's why I'm replacing it with some that are really better. And the other one just right here, you can see that it's also in pretty bad shape. So here we have the new one. Actually, I take them on some holder controller that are not working, and they're going perfectly fine on it. Here we go. I just put them back in place, and everything is all right. Okay, so now we can put the motherboard back in place, and now I want to show you the part that we want to change. For this, we're just gonna remove the rest of the controller by grabbing it by the rumble motors, and then we can flip it over. The green thing there is like a plastic or ribbon cable, but more flat, and we're gonna remove it. But for this, as you can see, we will need to remove the R1, R2, and L1, L2 button, and this is a bit more complicated. So I prefer to put back the inner frame in the controller, so it will be easier to remove those buttons. So for the, I'm just gonna unscrew it back so it have more firm. And now I'm gonna remove the L1. I'm just doing like a lever effect on both sides of it. I think that is the best way to do it. It's the way that is the less risky to break the parts inside. And once you do it, once you try it, you will see that it's really easy and it doesn't damage the controller at all. And here we go. One is done. Let's go. Let's do the other one. Okay, now we're gonna remove the bumper. For this, you need to push them to the side, one side, in fact, only one. And once you remove one, be really careful for this little spring. You need to keep it at the place safe in order that you don't lose it. Otherwise, your trigger will not go up when you play with them. So here we go for the second one. And again, be really careful with that little spring. Okay, so now we can remove the little pad of the R2 L1 and R2 L2 button. Here we go. These are removed. Now I will just show you what it looks like on the top. We can see this ribbon cable there. And now we will unscrew it back, and we will remove the green film that I show you. Okay. So again, we'll grab it by the rumble motors. Here we go. And now I like to do this part with a pair of tweezer. We're just gonna unsnap what is holding the ribbon cable in place. So here we go. And now for this part, you just need to press it a bit with your finger like I do, and it should come off easily. Okay, now we just need to remove the final. It's attached to the back of the controller, so you will need to remove the motherboard again, and you will need to unsnap it like you do with the rest of that ribbon cable. Okay, and now that it's done, you should be able to remove it really easily. Just look at that. Oh, it's easy to do. I just pull on it and it goes out. And lucky me, I had one. I had one at my house, so I can change it right at the moment to show you how to put the new one in place. Well, in fact, again, it's one that it's coming from a non-working controller again. So here is a blue one. It will do exactly the same job as the other one, even if it's blue. It's matching it perfectly, as you can see. So now I will try to install it. So really, you just start by doing the same thing as the other one, but in the reverse order. So we will start by sliding it through the inner frame of the controller, and we will pin it back in place. So let's go just like this, and now we will pin it in the back, and it's done. So the pin on the back of the controller will go on the pin on the motherboard, just where my thumbs is, and it's how it registers, sorry, the buttons that you press on the controller. So now I'm pinning it back on the 4 point. And here we go, we're going to put the last piece back in place. It's like when you put it in, you fold it a little bit and you push it through, and you will be able to have it fitting perfectly, just like it is for me. So now we're gonna start by putting back the little bumper in place. In fact, it's a little pad. And here we go. I think I'm gonna do this a little bit fast forward, as it is easy to do. Okay, and now this is a crucial step. It's time to put the spring back in place. I'm gonna show you how it is done. So you put it to the inner hand of the little trigger, and look closely at the camera to see the angle of the spring you need to do. You see it? And now I'm gonna try to put it back in place. This is mainly the reason why I like when the inner frame is in the controller. It's because it's a lot easier to replace the little trigger. So I'm gonna put it back in and I'm gonna try again. And let's try that another time. So I'm putting back the spring in place, just as I showed you before, and it should be a lot easier. And here it is, the first trigger is in place. Nice job. So here we go, we have two nice triggers in place. Now I'm gonna put back the ribbon cable of the touchpad in place, and I'm gonna push back the black lock in. And now we're gonna put back the little battery holder. It's the same thing as when you remove it, so you need to put back the tab in place in order that it stay in place correctly. It's always a bit tricky, but here we go. On one side it's done, and on the other side it's done too. Oh no, I'm gonna try it again. Now it's done, firmly in place, just like I like. And now we're gonna put back the battery in. It's only fit in one side, so if it's not working, don't try too hard. Just flip it over and it will work. The battery is in. Okay, and now that this is done, I think I'm gonna clean the controller a bit. I'm gonna use a toothpick in order to do so. I like to do it with this because I'm sure that I will not damage the controller, and I can remove all the dirt that is just there on the side of the controller. I think it's going really well. Okay, so now that this is done, now it's the time to put the back of the controller back on its place. Now we'll just plug back in the ribbon cable, just like I did. You just need to push it back in place. And now you first put the back on, and you will just snap it a little bit with his bottom part, and it still clips in at the top at the same time you do this. So just make sure that everything is in and that you don't snap any part and break them. And now you can just clip all the rest of it, and it should be nice. So now we can test it. I will put my testing device in place. Okay, so it's yellow and the tester is on. Now I will be ready to test it. And oh, square. No, nothing is working here. This is weird. Usually, do we create more problem than it has before? I'm gonna do some checkup. Just hold on a second. I find what it was, guy. It was pretty easy. You need to be on the tab when you need to be on the tab where the controller is being tested in order for it to work, and it wasn't the case. So now we can test the D-pad. Oh, D-pad is working great. So I think this is a fix. Let's do the rest of the testing. So this controller is working perfectly fine. It's really nice. The job was well done, and we will see us in another video. Have a nice day.